Talkin Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilots. I've got Matt O'Leary to my this way and Green Bean to my that way. Matt, how you doing tonight? How you feeling?
Much better. Last week was the week from hell. It wasn't like, oh, Matt's got like a little cold, he's gonna miss tonight. No. That was really bad. That was maybe the worst upper respiratory infection I've had. Who loses their voice for 5 days? That's what I want to know, because I tried every remedy. I tried the killing it with whiskey, which didn't work. I was hoping that would. I tried it multiple times, of course. The honey with the tea with honey. I was gargling salt water. Everything under the sun, but finally, after 9 days, we are back and ready to go.
I love it. We're glad to have you back. It was lonely without you. We had Ali jump in. That was a lot of fun. But Green Bean, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to have Matt back too. Am I frozen? No. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to have Matt back. I don't like a week without my Just Jess podcast. It's important to me. But yeah, I spent the last 2 days traveling with the RV. We left Virginia. I just got to Fort Lauderdale today. So we'll see how the internet works. I'm back to, I don't know. So hopefully it's good tonight.
Green Bean sent us a picture of how closely, was it how closely you parked or how closely the other guy parked?
They were already here. That was all the space I was given. Like I had to figure out how to put a 40-foot trailer in this little tiny space, and then like when my slide, so our RVs are literally less than an inch from each other. It's crazy.
So Green Bean actually sent us the video of him lubing up the side of his RV so that way he can shoot it right in there.
Glad I got gallons of lube.
Oh, gallons of lube. It's I'm not even going there. All right, boys and girls, for every 25 likes we get on this video, we're going to pick a qualifier for a t-shirt to give away at the end of the stream. If you're watching this after the fact, all you have to do is drop a comment down below and you'll be qualified for next week's t-shirt giveaway. So at 25, see, we hit 25 likes already. You guys are good. You see, I knew I liked you. All right, Nightbot, do your thing. Then we'll get into some Jet stuff. So, all right, Jets wind up losing this week 17-24 to the Miami Dolphins in a game that felt like we should have won. It was a little funky, had a few missed kicks, had a few bad penalties towards the end of the game. And it kind of left Jet fans a little frustrated, a little like kind of perplexed, unsure how to feel. Green Bean, I'm going to throw it to you first. What were your thoughts on the game?
Well, look, number one, of course, we wanted to win. I honestly believed, and I haven't believed it in a few weeks for real, that we were going to win. I thought we were going to win this game. I thought we had a real good shot to win the game. But for me, while I was disappointed that we didn't win, I was. Because, like, once the clock ticked and I was like, oh, man, we're not going to. It sucks. I wanted to win this one. But all that said, I saw a lot of positives. I didn't see the same, like I saw a lot of tweets like, when is this going to end? And for me, it wasn't that way. While I'm disappointed with the loss, I really liked a lot of things I saw. Even the defense after that first drive, they stiffened, so they were even showing that, like, look, we're not going to get blown out 50 points, 45 points again. And look, until the middle of the fourth quarter, it was a tie game. You know what I mean? So granted, not the most electrifying game in the world, lots of mistakes and stuff, but I thought it was a good game. Obviously, guys like Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, I loved LDT, man. Now, not perfect, but dude, night and day different from Greg Van Roten. And I think he'll only get better being in the lineup for a minute. So I felt good with the loss. As good as you can feel after a loss, that's how I felt about it.
What about you, Matt? How you feeling about Sunday's game?
Yeah, Green Bean kind of hit it, man. It was kind of boring. Like, there wasn't a ton involved. And I mean, between these two teams, neither of them are really all that good. Let's just be honest here. But there were some nice moments for sure. For example, Elijah Moore's big touchdown. Like, when was the last time we saw a Jets receiver do that? 2010 Santonio Holmes against the Browns in overtime. Like, this is a long time since we've had a player of that kind of, explosiveness. Michael Carter, 50 rushing yards in the first quarter. He was tremendous. And then he gets hurt, unfortunately. I can't wait for him to come back because he's really established himself. Elijah Vera Tucker is playing great right now. That's 3 rookies on offense. You're getting Zach Wilson back now. So for me, I'm going to instead look at the positives from this last game in the offense yet again, looking fine and capable, and hoping that they build off of it while realizing that it's a rookie coach and there's going to be mistakes like wasting 2 timeouts in the third quarter. Like that's dumb little things that are going to happen when you have a rookie coach.
Yeah, I think for me the most frustrating part was the mental errors, both by the coaching staff and from the players. Like John Franklin Myers having the late hit on the quarterback, completely inexcusable. Pinnock with the a hold on third down? That was questionable. And then you have the 2 timeouts in the third quarter. Not ideal. But like you guys, I do like looking at the positives because look, you're starting Joe Flacco. You're kind of trying to look at like Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, AVT, all the different pieces. Quincy Williams had himself a great game. Had 15 tackles, 10 tackles, 5 assists.
Yeah.
So he's looking exciting. I would like to see him start every game at linebacker with CJ Mosley. And then if Davis has to be off the field, I'd rather just kind of do that. Elijah Moore quickly shooting up the touchdown total chart for rookie wide receivers. Jamar Chase is the only rookie wide receiver to have more than Elijah Moore. This kid is exciting. When I heard the whole news about Flacco and White today, I was like, oh no, put Elijah Moore in a bubble. Don't get this guy anywhere near. Like, keep him on the field, please, please. Is it so much to ask that we get a game with Wilson and Carter and Elijah Moore, Elijah Vera Tucker, and a Booth LaFleur?
Right.
That's what I want. I want all of them. And we're not going to get that for another 4 weeks at best. Very frustrating.
Agree.
But, look, it's a funny thing. And you just brought it up, the 2 third quarter timeouts. And so don't forget this. And I want to just point out the irony here. The week before, we were all chopping Salah's head off for not calling a timeout when he needed to. Now, this week he calls it, and we're going, hey, this fucking guy's wasting our timeouts and all this stuff. Bad situations. Is that not progress? Is it not? We're talking about a coach trying to figure out who is head, how to be a head coach. Who is this guy? He doesn't even really know. He's trying to figure this out. Last week, he made the mistake of delegating to his offensive coordinator. Hey, are we going to make it? He says, yeah, and then they don't. And then Salah's head's on the chopping block. This week, he says, you know what? It's not looking good. I'm calling the timeout. Now, is it a bad timeout? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. But we're talking about things that make us realize there is progress. There is learning going on. And I think the way I look at that is that's what that is. Granted, we want to get past all the stupid mistakes with clock management and when to, throw the red flag and not throw the red flag, all those kinds of head coaching things. At the same time, 1 week ago, he was literally being roasted over a spit for not calling a timeout on a 4th and inches, and rightfully so. This week, he kind of swings the other way and goes, fuck this, I'm calling the timeout. Rather than get into a bad situation. And I saw at least 2 articles and 30 tweets ripping him a new ass for calling timeout. So I just think it's a funny thing that we do as Jets fans. Let's watch progress. And for me, that's exactly what that looked like. He wasn't going to watch that happen again.
V-Man drops in with a super chat. He says, glad to have you back, Matt. I hope you enjoyed the playlist I made for you.
Yes, I am glad that I am back. And for the playlist, so if you guys know me, you guys know that I like country music. And if you know V-Man, he is a huge classic rock guy. So he sent me a playlist of Rolling Stone covers of country songs. And it was good. I forget which day it was last week. I think either Thursday or Friday. Doesn't matter. But while I was working and doing some uploading for Odds Checker, I had that on in the background. So I enjoyed it. Thank you, V-Man.
What a good
stuff,
dude,
V-Man. He's a good. I like V-Man. He can stay. He can.
You can stay.
Yeah. Matt, what are your thoughts on the coaching and the decision making and things like that? Do you see it getting better?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. Even just, I'm sure we're going to get into it at some point too, but even coordinators like Michael LaFleur has been really good. I think he's kind of surpassed Salah and 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞 right now. And ironically, at the start of the year, everyone was talking up 𝐒𝐵RAC and how good of a job he was doing with this defense. So it's been kind of the roller coaster of this season. And Salah's had his ups and downs, but something that Green Bean and I were talking about on the halftime show over at the Jets Nations channel was how he was much more animated on the sidelines and into it. And I think fans have been kind of asking for that for a while. And I think it was because it was a close game. It was tied. It was 7-7 or 10-10, whatever it was. I don't remember. But the point was the intensity was there, and he wasn't just a stoic guy on the sideline. So I do think, throughout that we've seen improvements from the staff.
Yeah, and especially we're seeing growth from our young players too. Like Michael Carter looks legit. Elijah Moore looks legit. Elijah Vera Tucker looks like he's going to be legit. And now you just want to see it from the quarterback. That's all you just want to kind of get it going right there. But I think what's nice for us is we're able to see the offense and LaFleur perform well without Zach. And don't get me wrong, I like Zach has his flaws with stuff that went on early on, but I also think that the game has been called differently since LaFleur has been up in the booth, and I think Wilson is going to benefit from that. Now, maybe losing Michael Carter, who was really like super special coming out of the backfield, we're going to feel that impact. I think we're just going to get a heavy dose of Ty Johnson, and I want to know Green Bean's thoughts. Do you think we see some P-Ryan now that
dude, we should? Right? What is this? But like, just say me before I go all P-Ryan crazy, I want to just say I do agree that it's such a shame, man. Like Michael Carter over the past 4 or 5 weeks has really turned into a different player, like somebody that they feel comfortable with, that they trust. And it's unfortunate that Zach's first game back, we don't have the established guy for him. We're still going to be trying to see if Ty Johnson can hold onto the ball and block. And if Tevin Coleman, he's kind of bipolar. 1 week he's absent. The next week he has 3 or 4 10-yard runs or whatever. So, and then we're going to be feathering in LaMichael P-Ryan, who's gotten, I believe, 1 snap all year. So it's not exactly hitting the ground running here. So that all said, I think P-Ryan should be looked at this week. I think it would be smart to have him over the next couple of weeks and slowly kind of just fold him into the lineup and see what he can do. Much better blocker. I would have him in there on passing downs for Zach, because Ty Johnson's 1 click from being a downright liability in pass protection, man. And there was a couple plays this very week that he got blown up, and it happens all the time. So, I hope we see LaMichael P-Ryan, because I think at least that stuff will be better.
Jets NY 101, thank you so much for the super chat. It says, good to see that QB1 will be back on the field. Move the chains, chip away, take shots down the field when the opportunity presents itself. Yes, that's exactly what we want to see. We want to see Wilson take what the defense gives him. Don't try to put too much on your back. You have playmakers around the line of scrimmage. You got Jamison Crowder, you got Elijah Moore, you got Ty Johnson. You got some options here. Corey Davis is back in the lineup. I think there's going to be a different offense, and I think we're going to kind of see that debuted against the Texans. Hopefully, we don't get what the Titans got last week. So we'll see. I don't want to see a 4 interception game from Wilson. I'd be very upset. Matt, any comments on this?
Yeah, I am thrilled to have Zach Wilson back. And what we've seen from the Jets offense is 3 different quarterbacks be able to throw for some decent yardage. Flacco, I think, finished with 291 last week. You had the 400 game from White, and even the game that Josh Johnson played, he moved the ball. So what I think we're going to see from Wilson is him going back to the basics and hitting that underneath stuff, which those 3 are really good at. But I think what sets Wilson apart from those 3 is the potential for bigger plays, which isn't exactly there with Flacco. Although he does have a bigger arm, he's a statue. He can't move. Where White, his thing was, he can't push the ball more than 15 yards down the field, but he was good at getting the ball out quick. Same thing with Johnson. He got the ball out quick. If Zach doesn't hold on to it and is getting it out quick, but has the ability to roll out, extend plays, and push the ball down the field, then I think that's when you'll see the offense go into its fullest form.
V-Man drops in the super chat, says, can people stop acting like Rex Ryan is Webb Eubank? Also, Matt, most of those songs were original songs.
There we go.
Interesting. Interesting. Did you guys see Rex Ryan and Coach Saleh, I guess, had a discussion, and Rex Ryan likes the direction that Robert Saleh is going in right now? Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't get to. I saw like scrolling through Twitter, I saw a bunch of Rex's just really plump red looking face this week flapping. And I read the headline, but with all the traveling, I haven't had a minute to like kind of really focus on anything. But supposedly Rex is a huge Saleh fan now. So I wonder what Saleh told him. Did they let us know? Did he say Saleh told me X, Y, and Z?
Well, so Saleh came out and said something along the lines, and I expect that this is probably similar to what he might have said to Rex on the phone. But it's like Jet fans are not used to this. They're like, we actually have a plan, and it's not just the quick fix. And I know we were supposed to have the plan with Sam Darnold when we bottomed out and reset the whole roster. Well, that kind of like exploded in our face. But we just have to kind of sit through it and take our lumps. I think we are in the right direction. I think these are the right coaches for the job as well.
That was a funny thing, though. That one comment I saw, it came from Samini. He said, "What about the Sam Darnold rebuild? Blah blah blah." The truth is that was never a rebuild. Sure, we were told it was a rebuild, but when you use 5 first and third round picks on defensive tackles since taking a quarterback, using 4 picks to get him, that's not a rebuild. Like I said to somebody, you can actually show up at a job site with a bag full of nails, a can of paint, and a whole bunch of 2x4s. That doesn't mean you're building a house today. Yes, you need those things at some point, but that doesn't mean you're building a house. You know what I mean?
That might be my favorite analogy I've ever heard.
Yeah, good. I made it.
That's fantastic. You are in the 100 Club. Sorry. No, go on.
Okay. There you go. Well, just to cap that though, it's like, look, we did all want Sam to succeed, but we could tell very early. I mean, literally the next pick. We traded 3 second-round picks to move up and get Sam Darnold. The next pick was a small school 26-year-old defensive tackle. All they gave Sam that whole draft was a 4th-round tight end and a 6th-round running back. That's it. That's what they gave Sam. We drafted 2 offensive linemen in 5 years. So you could see the difference if we're paying attention. It does suck to have to wait again and start over, but it's totally different. And I don't think we could even call that period of time a rebuild. It was just running in circles.
Well put.
Yeah. There you go.
The 100 Club. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Says, what do you guys think about Corey Davis? I'm okay with what I've seen, but there are a lot of negative voices out there. I've heard a lot of people down on Corey Davis because of either drops or fumbles, both. And look, I like Corey Davis a lot. I think it was a very good signing in the offseason. I like the 𝐒𝐿_𝐫𝐢 signing. I like the Elijah Moore pick. And for me, ideally, if you could have it wind up being Elijah Moore as your number 1, Corey Davis fits in as your number 2, and then you have like a Jamison Crowder or a Berrios or 𝐒𝐿_𝐫𝐢, someone like that to kind of round out the roster. I think you're fine. Corey Davis, I think, has all the talent to obviously be a top, 5 pick. And I think he will do more good than bad when he's here. And I just, unfortunately, there's going to be times where you try too hard and you fumble the ball, like 2 weeks ago that happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Corey Davis. I think he's part of the solution, not part of the problem. Matt, your thoughts?
I agree with that. I think Jet fans overrated Corey Davis a little bit, or maybe they set their expectations too high for Corey Davis is maybe a better way of putting it. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy who's going to be like a prototypical number 1 receiver, but he's a good player. And he was a good piece in a wide receiver room. And he really struggled. He's not as bad as what he looked like during that stretch where he had a bunch of drops. That was an outlier if you look at his entire career. But I agree. I think Elijah Moore is probably the higher ceiling player. And when it's said and done, as early as next year, he will probably be getting more targets and be more the focal point of the offense in Davis. I just think the issue when the Jets were really struggling, it felt like they were force feeding him the ball, and that's when the drops were coming in, and that's when the mistakes were coming in. So it was almost amplified. So I think it's more so on people just setting expectations too high for him.
Green Bean, what about you? How you feeling about Corey Davis?
Well, it's tough because he sucks, so it's like we all want to believe in him. You know what I mean? But dude, he's had more dropped passes, fumbles, like half of Zach's picks the first couple weeks were literally directly because of Corey Davis. So like Matt said, he struggled for whatever reason. It might just be the pressure of being the so-called number one. I'm supposed to do this kind of a thing. Maybe he can't handle that. Maybe he's just a good piece. I think he's obviously a talented receiver. I really liked the free agent signing, but for whatever reason, he's had the drops. And look, he's had 3 fumbles, 2 which we lost, maybe. I could be wrong on that, but a couple fumbles, a few, 6 drops or whatever it is, and a few of those picks were because of him. So I would say anybody not digging him is kind of warranted. But again, we have to remember what this all is, dude. Like, it's a bunch of guys trying to piece this together. He's a vet, so you would like to see him be one of the guys that has it together, and maybe we can let the young guys get their mistakes. At the same time, I think it's just that kind of a year, and we're getting all the growing pains out now, and I don't think Corey Davis is going to be the problem. And look, we have him for 3 more years, so hopefully he's not.
Patrick Dunn drops in the super chat. He says, sit Becton for the year. No sense in getting hurt again in a lost season. Fant is playing well. That's something that we really need to talk about because George Fant has not allowed a sack at all this season. And that, I believe, is the most snaps by a left tackle without giving up a sack. So at this point, Becton has to earn his starting spot back from Fant. And even then, I agree with Patrick. I'm probably sitting Becton for the year because I think he's healthy at this point, and I think he's just out of shape, and that's why he's not playing and you're not seeing him more often. I think he's probably ballooned in weight, and this does not make me feel good because now you're talking like the big meal ticket. But
why do you think that? Why do you think that that's the issue?
Because I think you would have started to hear more and start seeing him practice more. And I think you're starting to see the little tweet videos of him sort of moving around. And it's not that I think there's any extra weight, but I think he probably has a weight issue. And when you can't walk around on your knee or your ankle or whatever you hurt in his leg, I think he's probably I think he's going to be overweight. And I think that's going to be the issue that he's dealing with and why he's not coming back as quickly as we would like him to come back. And to be honest, there really is no reason to rush him back because of the way Fant's playing. I would opt to sit Becton for the rest of the year rather than, risk him coming back and tearing something that could prevent him from starting next season. My thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's been a lot written about this guy this year, and very little of it was substantiated. It's they said he came in 40 pounds overweight. A week later, his trainer sent that video out. He looked like the Incredible Hulk. He looked slender and sleek. And so I don't know what all that is. I would probably say if he's not ready by 3 weeks, if he can't get 3-4 weeks in, at worst, then I would probably sit him too. But I think anytime, if he can get 4 weeks playing next to AVT, I would do it. But I think it's probably his knee, man. It's rather than him being out of shape. I mean, I just think I don't know what it is with this press. They said 4 different problems with him in the offseason, and none of them were real.
I don't think the overweight thing in the offseason was as justified. I mean, maybe he had a weigh-in that people heard, but he looked like he was ripped. But I do think his size right now is what's preventing him from getting back on the field. Now, whether that's just his sheer muscle mass and his just 6'7" frame, but either way, I think he's having a conditioning issue right now, and that's probably why we're not seeing him back on the field. Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
I think I'm with Green Bean. I think it's the knee. He hasn't returned for practicing yet. And I think that if you can get maybe 4 games with him, so if we're still at this point in another 3 weeks and he hasn't practiced and he doesn't look like he's close to returning, then okay, maybe it's a different conversation. And then we could start talking about sitting him for the year. But I think it's too early for that at this point to say that there's no sense in getting him hurt. Just sit him for the rest of the year. And I agree. Fant's been fine, but Fant isn't the long-term answer at left tackle. Mekhi Becton is. So when he's healthy and ready to go, I would like him to play. But if he's not, then that kind of answers your question.
Well, so how old's Fant? Fant's what, 29? So what would he have? Maybe, I mean, I know we want Becton to be the guy. But if Fant's like performing the way he is, do you really put Becton out there and like not play the best player right now?
Yeah, they will, because they took Quincy Williams right off he was having 3 or 4 straight rock star weeks, and Jared Davis was healthy, and they sat him. They put him on. So I think they would, because again, like, this isn't one of those years where it matters. Like, it's more about seeing the young guys. Like, we keep seeing young guys like Sherwood and 𝐒𝐿 and these guys that we really want to evaluate and kind of acclimate to the system. We keep seeing them go down. So if we have the opportunity to put Becton in, like Matt said, like 4 weeks, if it's a week or 2 weeks, I see no reason to do it. But if it's a month playing with AVT, I think they would do that, man, no matter how it looks. Like, let's get these guys playing together. Every minute that they're together is going to be a positive toward our future. And I'm not so sure Fant won't be a part of the team in the future. But again, like you guys just said, like Becton, that's our guy. That's the guy we want to be here for 10 years, starting at left tackle.
Now, do you think that, I don't know. Sorry, Matt, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to jump in and say, and I don't specifically mean you, Ryan. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, it's all right.
I think that sometimes I think people forget how good Mekhi Becton was last year,
right?
For this team. He was nearly at a Pro Bowl level in his first year. And yes, the entire offensive line stunk the first 3 weeks of the year, and then they improved. So his numbers weren't great in the one half of football that we saw him for this year. But I think he, based off of last year, earned the opportunity, and based off his status where he is with the team and the expectation with him going forward, has earned the right to come back in and play. And I think the discussion really is more so, okay, do you move Fant back to the right side and keep him with Morgan Moses, or put him in rather ahead of Morgan Moses? I think that's really more of the discussion there, because you have to see if Becton's your left tackle of the future.
Yeah, agreed.
I feel like Becton, I don't know. I feel like he's so important that you want him at full strength next year. Like, is there anything that we're going to see this year that will tell you good or bad on Becton that you would have felt, I don't know. I don't think there's anything I could see from Becton right now that I'd be like, oh, wow, he's better than I thought, or he's worse than I thought. Like, I think he's going to be that imposing presence. And I think his value to us is more next year than it is in a lost season this year, when we have a left tackle who's playing really well in George Fant. That's just kind of where I'm standing on it right now.
No, I get it. I think it's more about just him and AVT getting that time. Let's not forget that the first game, Becton looked lost, as did the entire offensive line. So it's not singling him out, and I said it numerous times on the live stream, he looks as if he doesn't know who to pick up. And then as I moved around, nobody looked like they knew who the hell to pick up, but particularly Becton looked confused. So that being the game where he doesn't come back from, he does that and then leaves. I would want to see him and AVT kind of start to get that telepathy going. Yep. That guys that are next to each other on the line start getting. I completely agree with you, Ryan. Like, his value is next year, but if you can get a month on the field, as long as you're not rushing them back. Like, let's not exacerbate this issue and make the first 4 months of the offseason have to be rehab. But at the same time, if we can get him on the field and he's ready to go, I would do it.
Yeah, I guess that's something to consider, because now what is Fant up after this year? Is his contract done, or do we have him for one more year?
It might be one more. I think it was a 3-year.
Let me pull it up real quick. George Fant. Yeah, so we do have him for next year. So we've got him under contract. Now his contract is not guaranteed, so you'd save $9.6 million. I would guess the Jets will hold on to him regardless of his cap hit. There's no, like, based on the injuries we've seen, there's no way you're going to go into your yeah.
Isn't Fant's run blocking like below subpar?
It is. It's worse than Becton's, but it's way higher than his. Like, his pass blocking is way better than Becton's was.
Yeah. Well, this year. But Fant, like, that's the thing. Like, look, they're saying that, like, taking Fant out is like pulling a picture from a perfect game. I have to disagree with that. Like, Fant is not blowing people's doors off. The NFL doesn't even know he's there because he's an imperfect guy. Truth is, Fant is probably better built for a swing tackle position. He's playing fine, but the running game, they don't even run over there as much as we should because Fant's run blocking is not exactly what you'd want. So even though he's doing a great job, and I like Fant, you guys know that I defended him all off season. I like Fant, but comparing him to what Becton was even doing just last year, dude, they're night and day. They're night and day difference. He's doing a great job, but it's not, our offense isn't doing all the things that they can do or they want to do because Fant is limited.
All right. I think that's probably fair. I don't know. I have a tough time. Like, I don't know. Is Becton just going to be handed the starting job back? Is that kind of what you see happening when he's healthy? Like, say he's got like 4 games left.
Yeah, he was the starter.
Yeah,
he went down for, he was the starter. He gave us enough last year. Don't forget, man, he was playing at a Pro Bowl level, slightly injured the shoulder. They didn't keep him out. They put him back in. The shoulder got hurt, and that kept him out. And he came in. He was coming in this year with very, very high expectations. He gets fucking rolled on because of GVR and getting blown up. And he's been out ever since. So I think when your starter comes back, look, Fant's doing what he's supposed to do. Fant's doing what he's supposed to. He's supposed to come in and be able to play. But I think when Becton comes back, we have him for 4 more years. You know what I mean? We want him to play. Now, if he doesn't look good in practice, maybe not. Don't get me wrong. But if he comes in, he's 100% healthy, and he's doing what he's supposed to do, I want to see him with ABT because that's who we're going to be marching out there long term.
All right. I see where you're at. Let us know in the chat what you think as well. We did pick 2 qualifiers already. So for every 25 likes we get on this stream, we're going to pick a qualifier for a t-shirt at the end of the stream. Jeremy Cravat and Joe S. were both selected by Nightbot. So drop a like if you want to have a shot at getting a shirt or something like that. Beloved Peace drops in with a super chat. Thank you so much. How do you guys feel about drafting an edge with one of our first round picks since Douglas already has put a lot of resources into the edge position? I think we're all on it. I'm definitely on it. I know Matt's on it, and I think Green Bean's sort of on that like cusp of maybe. I will say this: I definitely want edge. The Jets are currently sitting in the 2nd overall slot, and I believe they have the 6th pick right now because of the Monday night game and the way strength of schedule wound up working out. If I'm sitting at number 2, I have one of 2 things that are happening. It's funny. I actually shot a video that I was going to release about it, and I was just like, screw it. I was like, I kind of rambled. So I'll ramble here. Jets sitting at number 2. You either get the opportunity to draft 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢𝐻 because the Lions have taken a quarterback or traded out for a team that wanted a quarterback, or you might have an opportunity to allow a team to jump up in front of the Texans to draft a quarterback. Right now, the Texans are sitting at 4. I believe Washington somewhere around 10. There's going to be some teams that may find it interesting if a quarterback shoots up a draft board. Look, this time last year, we were starting to hear the rumblings of Zach Wilson and all that. So maybe something kind of gets kickstarted in the college football playoff or something along those lines that just gets a guy to shoot up a board. If I'm sitting at 2 and Thibodeau goes 1, I think the interesting question might be, are you taking Hutchinson at 2? Is there another player at 2 that you want, or would you prefer to trade back? I don't know. That's tough for me. I'm not 110% sold on Hutchinson. I like the edge position, but I don't know. I think I would probably prefer to trade down and then kind of roll the dice on, depending on where the Seattle pick is too. Because like if Seattle pick winds up being like 13, 14 or something goofy like that, they are technically the 2nd worst NFC team behind Detroit. Those damn Seahawks. It's just so wonderful. Matt, your thoughts? What would you do about edge in the 1st round?
I love going edge in the 1st round, especially if Hutchinson's right there. I think it makes a ton of sense. I would take him at 2. Now, I'm not opposed to trading out. It's different because you don't need a quarterback, but at the same time, like I get what you're saying. If a quarterback needy team wants to come up, I just don't think you're going to have to, like for this quarterback class, I don't think you're going to have to go up that high to get one. I really think Thibodeau is going to go 1. And then Hutchinson or Neal is probably going to go 2. And then maybe somewhere around like 5 is the first quarterback you'll see go, and maybe a team moves up from there. But I think I would go take the player at 2, and let's say as of this second, I'm pretty sure with the Giants loss, the Seattle pick moved to 6. If the Jets want to move out of one of their 2 picks, trade back with 6 then. I would rather take the higher end prospect, 2nd overall, and move back. I don't know, let's say 6 moves to like 15, just middle of the pack, and you get another whatever on top of it, and you want to do that, that's fine. But I think I would take Hutchinson too.
Greenbean, what about you? How are you feeling about edge in the first round?
Oh, that's my number one position that we want. I mean, I know he says Douglas put a lot of resources into edge. I see it very differently than that beloved piece. He only really put Carl Lawson into edge, and then he's I mean, we have an undrafted free agent. We used a 3rd round pick, and it's just a bunch of mid-range free agent bonus. I mean, bargain guys like Vinny Curry and even Ronald Blair, who finally played, which was nice, had a little game there, which is nice to see. But I think that we haven't put many resources into the edge position, and I think this is the year we're going to do it, and we should. Now, if we're at, just like we're talking about, so if we're right now 2 and 6, I'm going to really gauge where the draft is, and but I'm going to be open for business at 2, because if there's somebody up there that teams want to trade for, who's going to need a quarterback? You got the Texans, maybe I don't know. Washington. They're at 10. Philly might be. I don't know.
Atlanta at 9, maybe Atlanta at 9.
So one of those might come up. So if people want to come up and jump, the thing is, like Matt was alluding to, this quarterback class isn't going to be the first 3 picks. Most likely they're going to be up there, but it's not like that mad rush that we saw last year. But if we could get 2 more firsts and like a 2nd or something like that for jumping out of 2 down to 10, I would probably do that. That said, if the offer isn't sweet enough, I would just take my highest rated pass rusher. I like Hutchinson. I like Karlaftis. There's a few guys that I like, actually. And whoever Joe Douglas likes the best, just get them and then see who's there at your number 6 pick. Hamilton, whoever. That's who I would take. I would take Hamilton and either Hutchinson and I feel like I'm saying his name wrong, but it's Karlaftis, I think.
Yeah, you got it.
And then I would wait till the 2nd round to get a Jarrett Patterson for my interior offensive line and a tight end, Charlie Kolar out of Iowa.
Now let's say the Redskins or the Washington football team offer you number 10 and one of their edge rushers. You doing that?
Ooh, yeah. Which one?
It's not Chase Young.
Chase Young. Oh,
he's injured. All day. Let's say Montez Sweat.
Yeah, Montez Sweat. No, it's not enough to jump back to 10. They got to throw in a 2nd too. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not enough.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it depends. Yeah. I don't know if that's like if Montez Sweat and the 10th pick were like the final deal and the only deal on the table, kind of like how we were with Quinnen Williams, and we didn't really have much of a trade down. I think I'm probably making that trade. I don't know why Sweat is on injured reserve. Do you guys know what he hurt?
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I don't know offhand. His cap numbers the next 2 years. If he's traded to us, would be $3 million, and it would be like $3 million each year. It'd be like really cheap.
Broken jaw, by the way.
Broken
Who
jaw.
Did that?
𝐒𝐿 and Polly was over there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right.
He was doing some dirty stuff in that Washington locker room.
So Sweat had 9 sacks last year, right? Or was it like 8 or 9 sacks last year? And then I'm gonna see here. I'm looking at his stats. Here we go now. He has 4 this year, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, he's effective. I liked him in that draft. I wanted to trade back and grab Sweat. That's what I want, or take Josh Allen. But yeah, I mean, that would be a good one. If that's the only offer on the table, I'm not doing it. Like, wait, so you said that if they offered next year's first and Sweat, or just number 10?
I was saying just 10
no
and
way.
Sweat. That's it.
Yeah,
no way.
See, I think I would do it. I think I would take the edge rusher, and then I'd still get 2 picks within the top 10 as of right now. I think that that helps your team. I mean, obviously it would help your. I'd rather that than maybe not getting Sweat and getting. I don't know. Do you value Sweat as a first round pick right now? I guess that's maybe the question. Like, do you value whatever next year's first is higher than Sweat with 2 years on his contract?
Yeah, but so you would have to value Sweat as the 10th overall pick because that's the remaining number on the so number 10 is 1,300 and number 2 is 2,600. So that's 1,300 remaining draft points on the board. So is Sweat worth the number 10 overall pick? I would argue no. I would say he was a first rounder, but he was the end of the first round, But
knowing what he is now, does that make it worth it? Like if you knew what a player was at 10 and you knew he was a Pro Bowl potential or fringe Pro Bowl type player, I think I'm making that trade. I think that it's the draft is such a crapshoot that if you're getting a guy that's 25 years old at a stud position with 2 or 3 years left on his contract, because he's still got his 5th year option that they haven't kicked in yet.
Yeah, I don't know. But for me, I hear you, man, and I'm not 100%, but I would say you got to throw in a second for me, and I'll do it.
So, beloved piece, I think we're all on board. We all want an edge rusher. I think that's definitely, quarterback is the most important, then protecting the quarterback, then getting to the other team's quarterback. Those are the 3 most important positions, so we're all on board with that. Patrick Dunn drops in with Super Chat. Thank you, Patrick. Says, no complaints about right guard position this week. No, the dude started 1 game, LDT, and I want to see him continue. I've seen enough of Greg Van Roten. I don't need to see any more Greg Van Roten to know that, he's not good. So I'm very happy. Matt, any thoughts on our right guard?
Yeah, I was happy with the play this week. And as for Greg Van Roten, my fellow Long Islander, maybe I'll see you out in RVC. I don't want to see you on the field anymore.
Maybe what about you? How you feeling about no more GVR?
Look, I want to say this, and I will for the next week or so, because I really feel bad for GVR is one of us. He's a Jets fan. You know what I mean? He grew up with that as being a Jets fan. He collected cards. He has, stickers of Joe Klecko in his house, all that kind of shit. So I want him to know that I get it. I'm with you. We really wanted you to succeed, dude. Really. That said, sometimes we just can't cut it. Sometimes we're just not the guy. And I think that's what it is. Would I keep GVR as a $2 million backup guy? Yeah, sure, I would. He can come in for a game and that kind of thing. But damn, was it nice to see Duvernay Tardif, first of all, not getting blown back off the ball into the quarterback. But even when he did, when the defensive lineman got a jump on him, he doesn't lose leverage. Believe me, I watched him particularly almost every single play. And he maintains contact, maintains his leverage and his balance, and continues to fight with the guy. There was 2 or 3 times where it looked like he was beat and still pushed his guy outside of the pocket. And it's just GVR was toast in those situations, man. Our quarterback was getting walloped, and it was so refreshing. This guy's been here 2 weeks. There's only going to be improvement. And I just couldn't be happier that they actually made the switch. I started getting nervous that they never were going to. So that made me really happy.
Matt, did I ask your thoughts already?
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't want to see him on the field. I want to see him out in Rockville Center.
That's right. Okay, sorry. RJ McPot, thank you so much for the Super Chat, brother. He says, when the Giants implode and they clean house at season's end, what top 3 players or staff members, coaches would you like to acquire? I don't think they're going to clean house. I think where they're at right now, I think Garrett was the sacrificial lamb today. They fired him, their offensive coordinator. I think they're going to let Gettleman and Judge get another year with Jones. And I think that's what happens. And it's weird because I think a lot of Giant fans are kind of in this in-between stage where they don't necessarily trust Gettleman, but I don't know if you necessarily want to handcuff your GM with Judge right up. I mean, I guess you don't handcuff him, but do you? I think if anyone goes, I think Gettleman goes. I don't think Judge is gone, but I think it's trending towards all those guys being back for another year. If I had to pick someone on their team that I would want, maybe you look at someone like a Billy Price. He's going to be a free agent after this year. God, I don't know. Someone on their team. They're kind of an older team. I don't know if there's anyone that I really want from there.
Don't say Evan Ingram.
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think he's
No.
very good.
No.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't. It's not that they have bad players. Like there are guys that are like pretty decent, but I don't know if there's anyone that I'm kind of banging down the door for that we wouldn't have to give like a draft pick up for. Let's see. Who are their free agents? Will Hernandez. It's an interesting option. I don't know overall how he's played. Jabril Peppers torn ACL or Achilles? What happened to him? Something happened to him. He tore something not so good. I don't know. I'm not sure. If we got some Giant fans in the chat, let us know who's some players or staff members that we should look to acquire. Matt, do you have any thoughts on this?
If the Giants were smart, they would move on from Daniel Jones, Joe Judge, and Dave Gettleman. But I am very much so hoping that they hold on to all three because that would just add more entertainment for us. But Patrick Graham, I think, is a good defensive coordinator. So if you want to add him to the Jets staff, then that's probably the one that I would choose. I'm having a hard time coming up with a realistic option for a player right now. I don't really.
I feel like they have some like young guys, like Barkley's not going anywhere next year, and I don't want to give up what I would have to get him. Ojulari I liked, but they just drafted him. Like I don't know. Him. Like, yeah, there's not really anyone. Like they got a bunch of players that are fine, and I think a lot of other teams might want them.
And Matt, did you think when Ryan was saying about he'll probably get another year, do you disagree with that? Think they're getting fired?
Yeah, I don't see how you could give Dave Gettleman another draft.
You think it's just Gettleman though? It's not. You think Judge stays?
Well, I think the new general manager would be able to make the decision if they want to.
Right.
That's not what we're asking.
Who in their right mind?
I want to know: is this guy sticking around or not?
Judge? I think they're all gone. Yeah.
Who in their right mind would force a coach on a new GM? That's dumb.
And Judge is
terrible. But hey, you never know. You you could bring in a GM, and the GM wants to see how it goes with the head coach before he pulls the trigger. Because I think you'd rather have two shots than one. Because if you fire Judge and then Judge winds up doing something good elsewhere, and you bring in your guy and he stinks, at least you could roll with Judge, and no one's gonna like think anything less of you for doing it for a year. And then you're like, okay, this guy's the scapegoat. Let's move on to the next dude. Like that feels to me like the right move. I don't know. Maybe not. What about you, Greenby? What were you thinking? You think he's gone? They're gone?
I don't know. I think Mara and Gettleman are kind of working on something, and I think that they're going to get longer. But I want to point something out. Like everybody likes to compare the Jets and the Giants and all that stuff. They're in year 4 of their rebuild. Okay, this is year 4. We're in year 1. So there's a lot, and you could see. I mean, people are upset and all that, but you can see what we're trying to accomplish. You can see it if you look correctly. Last 2 years on offense, a couple first-round picks on offensive line, all those types of things. What they're doing is kind of interesting. And I thought Gettleman had a plan, but as soon as he took Daniel Jones, I think it was an incredible overdraft. But I think that might be where he goes, because I'm going to tell you right now, Jason Garrett didn't say to throw it to a fat offense or defensive lineman that was falling down. He didn't tell him to throw that pass.
He caught it.
Steve McClendon. McClendon, yeah, man. Tell you, man, Joe Douglas did that.
He's got the same amount of interceptions as Jamal Adams this year.
That's right. Yeah, and they both picked on Daniel Jones too. But so I don't know. I think I might lean towards what Matt was saying. Like they just got Jason Garrett out of there, and they're going to see if they can turn it around. If they turn it around and win even half of their games on the way out of this season, I think they'll stick. But if they don't, I think they're going to be gone.
I think I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure one of my Giants buddies told me they have the second easiest schedule from here on out. I don't know if that's right or wrong.
We're up there too.
They have the Eagles this week, who they're playing really
a lot better.
I think the Eagles make it 3 in a row. I think they beat the Giants this week.
Yeah,
I think so too, dude. The Eagles, they have 3 top 15 picks right now. That team went from like a hot dumpster fire to like really not bad. Feels like 2 weeks ago. Ugh, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. I thought that team was down the rebuild path for sure.
Yeah, I just don't see firing Jason Garrett this year. Like I don't know. Me personally, I just don't see it. But I mean, that's what's called a scapegoat. You know.
He's had a few head scratchers. Like I
Sure.
have a few Giant friends that were definitely like kind of like Garrett's got to go, and I don't know how much that is like some sort of hidden bias from him being the Dallas head coach for so long, and how much of that is like legitimately like no, this guy like sucks. Like we got to get rid of him. I never thought of him like that, but I know a lot of Giants fans were not happy with his play calling. Mariano Granada, thank you so much for the super chat. How high would you draft a safety? I would go second round. So ideally for me, Ashton Davis plays lights out the rest of the year. Like that, like he's shown enough promise where I'm hoping he can lock down one of the two safety positions. That would be fantastic. I still stand by wanting to bring back LaMarcus Joyner. But then I would supplement that with either a free agent or a draft pick. And if I'm just sort of rolling the dice in my head right now, I'm saying edge rusher, offensive lineman, tight end, corner are all four positions that are more important than safety right now. I would even throw linebacker over that. Safety, probably third, fourth round for me at earliest. Matt, what about you?
Second round, yes, I would do. I like Verone McKinney from Oregon, who's someone you can get in the second round. I can't justify it inside the top half of the draft. But second round, I think that's when I'm making my play on linebacker and safety is the second round.
Green Bean, what about you? How you feeling about safety?
All right, here's what I think. Number one, I want to say that we, as Jets fans, we have made a terrible decision and we've been burned by this exact scenario, right? There is a difference between taking a box strong safety with the 6th overall pick than a guy who covers the whole entire field, gets turnovers, great tackler, plus he's fantastic in coverage, really affects and impacts the passing game. There is a difference between those two guys. Now, the other thing is, I think we got to think about our regime, like what they're doing. They don't look to me to really think that cornerbacks need to be those premium types of players. So if that's the case, if they're in the first round and they really want to bolster their edge and they want to give that back end support to the whole field, I can totally see Hamilton being the first player that they pick if they feel like they're going to get one of the top 3 edge rushers at 6 if it's there. So generally speaking, I'm a second round at the highest, but usually like third, fourth round for safeties. But Kyle Hamilton's a special player. I know he's injured, and that would spook me. So depending on where he is during the combine and all that sort of stuff, I would have to see all that. But I could see Kyle Hamilton going because he's that special of a player. And for this particular defense, and I would be, if they decided to go Kyle Hamilton at 2 or 3 overall, and then we got the edge rusher with number 6 overall, I would be ecstatic. So it's an interesting year, but generally I'm with you guys. This year I'm not. I would say whenever they want to, if it's Kyle Hamilton, I'm good.
So I think that's probably an interesting note, right? Like if it was our only first round pick, I think you might feel differently about that, or would you be on Hamilton even if we didn't have the other pick?
Yeah, no. I gotta be honest, man. If it was our only first round pick, I'd be going edge.
Okay,
that's
without
kind of question.
I think that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. Maybe I need to just watch more Hamilton highlights and tape on him to really feel comfortable. But I have some serious PTSD from like the whole Jamal Adams thing, and I would love to trade down from like. It would feel so good to trade like the Seattle pick down and get like an additional first. So you could say you got 3 first round picks for Jamal. That would just make me so happy.
Wouldn't it?
It just really would. Kyle drops in with a super chat. Kyle, thank you so much. He goes, our first round should go like this: kicker, ball boy, cheerleader, next stop Super Bowl. Kicker, yeah, gonna be a problem. We brought in a kicker today. The kicker from the practice squad of the Chargers. I don't believe he has kicked at all, but he was able to make the practice squad. So that's something to kind of take note of. So maybe we wind up, I believe the the notes on him was if there was one undrafted free agent to make the 53-man roster from the Chargers, that was the player they felt like would do it. Yeah, kicker, ball boy. I would go cheerleader ahead of ball boy. I think we got enough ball boys. Next up, Super Bowl. Yeah, look, I'm all about it. What about you guys? How do we solve kicker? Is it like let's turn this question into kicker question. Do we have our kicker for next year on the roster right now? Green Bean, I'll throw it to you first.
It's tough to say yes because he sucks so bad from 50 plus. But the thing is with Amendola is that he has like those unteachable qualities. You know what I mean? Like he has just an incredibly strong leg, and he is accurate up to a certain point. So I don't know. Me personally, I would just go to the Bucs and just let them know. I would go to the NFL league office and say, you need to tell the Bucs I'm taking Jose Borregales off their practice squad. That's what I would do. You know what I mean? He's sitting right there. You just pluck him. Best kicker in the draft last year, or top 3, let's say. But that's what I would do. I would just take that risk with Matt Amendola becoming something, and I would just get Borregales on my team knowing he's more than likely going to be my kicker for a decade. That's what I think. But I could understand if they wanted to continue with Amendola and kind of try to work through this in a season when they're working through 100 other things.
Matt, what about you? Is our kicker on the roster right now?
My answer is going to be no, and this is going to have to be my last thought for me tonight, as it's a short week. So I had some scheduling conflicts, so I had to hop off and record another show. But sure. I know it stinks. For the 3 days, I'm cramming.
No, it's fair. It's okay.
But what I will say is, no, I do not, and I very much so like Green Bean's idea of picking Borregales off of the Tampa Bay roster or practice squad rather, and see what he is for the remainder of the year. And if he's great, perfect, ride with him. If not, well, sign somebody or figure it out in undrafted free agency next year.
Matt, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Any last words for our panel?
This week's Thanksgiving, so I just wanted to say I'm thankful for both of you guys and everyone here in the chat for helping us live the dream of talking Jets every single day. It's great.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm so thankful for you too, Matt. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, Matt.
Happy Thanksgiving, dude. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you guys.
See ya.
All right. Whoops. I hit Green Bean. Didn't mean
Hey.
Sorry.
There he goes, Ryan. There he goes.
Woo! Oh, that jerk,
Yes.
Matt. Sorry.
Yeah, couldn't wait.
I'm hoping he's still listening.
Yeah.
Thomas Cahill, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm going to scroll through the comments real quick. He says trade down twice was his other comment, so I'm going to assume that was what his super chat wanted to be. So Green Bean, what are your thoughts on trading down twice, either from the same pick or both picks? I'm going to say I like the idea of trading down. I think we need a lot of help, and whichever one can fetch us a bigger return. I think the difference between maybe edge rusher 2 versus edge rusher 3 plus an additional whatever player it winds up being, say next year or something, or maybe additional 2 or 3 players might be worth more to us than maybe a just that one lone pick. It's tough to know right now, right?
Think about this. Let's say, just hypothetical, right? Just for fun's sake. Let's say the Giants call us. They're at 5 right now. Let's say David Gettleman calls us and says, hey, look.
Hold on. Thomas Cahill, thank you so much for joining the channel, brother. You're the man.
Hey,
Sorry.
Thomas Cahill. So let's say, just as a hypothetical, the Giants who are sitting at 5 call us and they say, hey, we'll give you, they don't want to lose both of their first this year, but they say, hey, we'll give you a first, number 5, we'll give you a first next year, and we'll give you a 3rd round pick this year. If we could jump up to 2, then you move back to 5s. You have 5 and 6. And then somebody's calling you for one of those. So then you go, Denver calls and they're at 13 and they want to come up to number 5. So you say, okay, well, give me next year's first and a second this year, and you got it. So then you've acquired 2 more firsts, 2 more seconds, and then you have pick 6 and 13 in this draft. That is properly maximizing your value. Dude, at number 6, you're going to get one of the 6 best players in the entire country. There's going to be an edge rusher there. There's, if not, worst case scenario, you can grab Evan Neal or Linderbaum. He's the name on everybody's tongues, even though that there are other centers that are just as good as Creed Humphrey was last year. Guys like Lindstrom, Jared Patterson's probably my favorite after Linderbaum. But so you could take a Linderbaum and an Evan Neal up front and then see, which cornerback, which safety, whatever it is you want, what tight end is sitting there at 13, and you can still get that guy. And you've acquired 2 more seconds so that will give you 4 second-round picks this year and 2 more firsts next year, 3 more firsts next year. So that's how you do it. So I would love that. I would love to see Joe Douglas. Dude, if this dream that Seattle just cannot put it together and they are a top 10 pick, if this really happens, I have a hard time believing they're going to be the 6th overall pick. I just can't. I can't see them losing out, Ryan. But if they do, holy shit, what we need to do with those picks. We need to trade one, at least. I would trade them both.
Right. So I'm pulling up the Seahawks schedule because I'm actually curious what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. Let's see, guys.
All right. So this week, Washington football team, San Francisco, Houston, Rams, Bears, Lions, Cardinals. So there's some winnable games in there. You figure they should beat the Lions, the Bears, the Texans, and probably the Washington football team. Realistically, there should be 4 wins. So that would put them at 7-10. Now that said, they've also lost a few clunkers. Like to Jacksonville. Or no, they beat Jacksonville. They lost to, what was it, the Saints.
Oh, can you pull it up? Can we look at it together? Can you share your screen?
Yeah. Let's do that. Where's the
Oh, we're getting into it now, chat.
See, there's fucking around. Let's share it. Boom, there's the screen. I understand if I'm showing you porn, I get in trouble. Yep.
You're right. I know.
See,
you gotta be
minimize
careful.
that and bam.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to give a public service announcement. Don't think that the incognito window means you're incognito, chat. That's not what it means.
I'm not incognito right now, but whatever. Okay.
No,
so
I'm just saying in general, people think, nobody will find it. I'm incognito. Don't do it.
I'm good. I'm fine. Hey, just so you know, everyone still can find out. Well, not everyone. The incognito tab is just for the people that are in your house don't see your browser history.
Right,
government and everyone else is still going to be able to see whatever you're looking up.
Right, exactly. That's my point. Exactly. You don't want your wife to see that you're buying her a gift or something. That's why you use incognito.
Okay. So let's scroll down. All right. So we just had the Cardinals game. So now we got Washington football team. You got 49ers, Texans, Rams. I think they should go at least 2-2 in that stretch. That team feels better than it is.
Oh, totally, dude. And Russell Wilson just needs to come back. Like he had a broken finger. Like, believe it or not, that little difference in his throwing motion, he's got to settle that down. That's what's going on. You know what I mean? And Jamal Adams, he's Jamal Adams, so he ain't changing much.
So let's say
but I agree. 2-2.
So let's go through it like that. We think 2-2 in this stretch right here. I think the Rams definitely beat them, and then. I see the Texans as an easy win. Washington doesn't scare me because they don't have a quarterback right now. Not anyone that I should be afraid of, at least. And then San Francisco
just beat the Bucs. They did just beat the Bucs, so there's that. But still, that's a trap.
And then you go down here, and the last 3 weeks of the season, you got the Bears, Lions, Cardinals, and the Cardinals could very well be resting some players, although I would like to believe that Arizona would try to beat them to make it feel worse for their season. But it could very well be 3-0. If Arizona's resting players that last week of the season, then they shouldn't lose to the Bears and they shouldn't lose to the Lions.
So let's say they lose one though, just for argument's sake. And so that
has them at what, 3-4?
So that would be 3-4 for that stretch. So what does that make their record? So that would be 6-11.
6-11.
That'd be a top 10 pick, maybe top 10, 11 kind of a thing.
It should be, right? Like, because
should be.
We were what when we had the 11th pick? Were we 6-10? Is that what we finished up when we got back in?
We were 7-9.
7-9.
That was after our 6-2 finish.
That's right. That's right. So that should be a top 10 pick. So I'm confident that we'll get a top 12 pick. 10, it just scares me because that team is strong, or it feels like it should be strong.
Yeah, it should. And look, if they're just like imploding and people are hating each other and all that kind of stuff going on, they sense that Pete Carroll's retiring, all those kinds of things happen, and people stop playing, then we could see some things. But dude, seeing them lose to Washington, Detroit, the Texans all in one stretch, I find that very hard to fathom. So I think we're probably looking at like a top 15 pick, which will be amazing. But this number 5 overall shit that was going on yesterday, that was like, oh my God.
That would be amazing. That's the dream, right? If you get 2 top 10 picks, and then because I think you have to trade down. I know we need we have a lot of young players, and getting some like concrete blue chippers is like definitely important. I think it depends what positions are strength. Like, are you drafting a third offensive lineman in the first round in 3 years? I'm not against it. Tackle, center, I'm okay with that. McGovern has played well, so I almost think like maybe center's not as critical right this second. But
dude, McGovern's a top 10 center. People don't. I know
right now. Yeah, he's playing well.
That's the thing. Like, you got to just like, I don't know. People get jumpy, but Connor McGovern, while I'm not against upgrading, and like getting a guy in, they can battle. Connor McGovern even plays another year, and then, game 10, they come in. I'm all for it. But the truth is, right now where we are, I would rather see them use the premium capital on positions that we don't have, So if you're talking about, obviously edge and linebacker and safety, like we don't have them. We need those players. So if you decide to use premium capital on an edge rusher and like the snarliness linebacker in the class this year's Micah Parsons, dude, I would be all for that, man. That's what I think we should do if we don't trade,
Yeah, if there was a Michael Parsons level linebacker available, I would make that move. I think he has changed that Dallas defense so much in such a short amount of time, and the versatility he has is incredible.
Yeah. Well, they went linebacker happy. They got Jabril Cox too, man.
They did. That was late. Crazy. That was what, like 5th, 6th round? It was late.
Yep.
That was the beginning of the 3rd day. Jesse Peterson drops in the super chat, says, "Hey fellas, curious to see if anybody had the same thought. Zach was only announced the starter when COVID news broke. Is he 100%? I don't know how I feel." I think the plan was always to start Zach against the Texans. I think he was fine and could have played this past week. I think it was one of those like, hey, let's just make sure he's all right. I think he was always going to start against the Texans. I think the COVID news is just, it's COVID news, and I think that's about it.
That is an interesting thought, though. I didn't even consider that. I didn't even consider that. But I think, look, they said 2 to 4 weeks. So this we just saw 4 weeks. This is week 5. So it's right on the timetable. Remember when people were talking about a quarterback controversy with week 2? They're like, quarterback controversy. Remember all that noise? I told you guys not to listen to it, right, Ryan? It's crazy.
Yeah. You told me. I listened.
Did you?
I was like, I can't wait. Let's do it. This is great for content. This is amazing. Let's have people duking it out. No, look, Zach's the quarterback. He was going to start once he was healthy, and I think once they had the opportunity to kind of give him a softer start until he comes back. Friggle D drops in with a super chat, says, just spitballing, assuming Russell Wilson is available via trade and Zach shows minimal improvement to close out the season, would you trade for Russell Wilson?
No.
I don't think we're in that type of position just yet. I don't think Russ necessarily would want to come here. Like, I could see Russ more apt to go to maybe the Giants, who feel like they have more pieces that I think are win now than us. I like Russ a lot. He's
one of my faves. Russell Wilson is one of my look, and as I've told you, I don't like any players, But
Yeah.
as far as like appreciating their talent, Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick who came in and stole the job his rookie year and has played lights out. There were years I was without question in my brain he was the best quarterback in the NFL, and he's one of my favorite non-Jet players, man. I think he's amazing.
Agreed. I do like him a lot. So he's 33 years old. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's guaranteed a $5 million roster bonus on the 5th day of the league year, which means he's going to have to get traded within the first 4 days of the year, unless the Seahawks want to pay him the $5 million and then think they might be able to get a little bit more, maybe near the draft or something like that.
Yeah.
God, I
See,
don't
the thing
know.
is
I have
this,
a hard time. Like, what are you giving up to get him?
That's just it.
Are you just giving up Zach? If you're just giving up Zach, maybe you think about it, but there's like 11 years worth of difference there. And even with Russell, like playing the way he is with Metcalf, with, Lockett and all those guys, like how different are the Jets compared to the Seahawks? And is Russ really going to take us to the promised land? I think that's where we're probably sort of stuck. I would say no. I would keep Zach, depending on what you'd have to give up to.
And like, look, the thing is, man, like we have a young roster, we have a young team, like we're building them all together, we're doing the whole thing. This is a long-term project that they're in. You bring in a Russell Wilson, and you know what that does? It starts to have the idea of we need to win before his career's over. That 5. And it changes everything, man. As much as I like Russell Wilson, and look, you look at guys like Peyton Manning going from the Colts to Denver, brought him to a couple Super Bowls. You look at Tom Brady going down to Tampa. So it's not to say that they can't do it later in their career. They do it. I would just say, let's just stick with our plan and see how I know it's frustrating in the early going. It is, but it's, we have a plan. And I just want to see, let's just build the young guys and see what the Zach Wilson character is, rather than switching gears at the first shiny object that fucking runs across your face, all of a sudden going, ooh, I want that instead,
Dude, I can't tell you how much it would mean to me if the Jets could groom a quarterback. Like legitimately from birth of draft pick to full-fledged stud top 5 quarterback. Like that's what I want. Now that said, this is me, the guy that said I would give up 3 first-round picks prior to the Deshaun Watson news, going south, but I would have absolutely given up 3 firsts for a 25-year-old franchise quarterback already on his long-term deal, as opposed to giving up picks for a 33-year-old quarterback. I think there's a slight difference there.
It is a difference.
I mean 10 years, right? Or 8 years.
Yeah, that's right. 8 years is significantly different. And it's funny, like there were people that were willing to give up 4 firsts when we were talking about all that sort of stuff. But I would hate to see us like give our 2 firsts this year for Russell Wilson. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What about Aaron Rodgers? Let's throw that one in the ring. He's what, 37, 38? I think he's 38 in November or December rather.
Well, I'd love Aaron. I mean, Aaron. I was thinking Aaron Donald. I was like,
no, let's say Aaron Rodgers for like, what do you get him? 2-3 years maybe, and not that he would come here, but does that change your thought process at all, like from Russell to Rodgers?
Well, let's say all things were equal, who would you trade for? Who would you pick? Like if it was like a first and a second, or a first and Zach for either Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, you can have either one. I think I would probably take Russell Wilson over Aaron. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is lights out.
I would take Russell just because you might get another 7 years from him, where Rodgers, I feel like you might get another 5. I think Russell's play style is going to have his career end a little bit quicker than where I think Rodgers might end. But I think I don't know. I think Rodgers is kind of a dick. Like personally, I like Russell. Like Russell seems like a halfway decent dude.
He seems to be mellowing out a little bit.
Right? Like I think Rodgers is the better quarterback, but I don't know. I would take.
I don't know, dude. I think Russell Wilson has carried his team. I mean, when they went to the Super Bowl and they had Lynch and some other guy, they had the Legion of Boom. That was a different. But like, dude, they've given him almost nothing. They give him a couple receivers, but no offensive line. for years, and he just keeps winning. And this year, it fell apart finally, but that was partially due to his injury. You know, so I don't know. I don't know. Either way, I say, if I don't know. That's a hard one. I'd have to really think about it because it's hard to pass up a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers. But I think I would just leave all that shit on the side and just say, hey, we have our kid. We're going to groom him like you were saying. Let's actually develop some players, and we're going to go forward. All the young guys at the same time, we're going to just inundate them with the system. They're going to make their mistakes together, and we're going to be the most dominant team in the league. And that's what I'd like to just stick with the plan.
I like that. That sounds like a good plan to me. RJ McPot drops in with a super chat, brother. Thank you so much. He says, unless we trade our current center for a pick or a good right guard, I don't know if I'm hyped on Linderbaum so early. If he falls into the mid-teens, then go for it. Yeah, I will flat out be the first one to admit I do not love Linderbaum in the top 10. Like, that scares the life out of me. And I know I've said it before where I was like, look, taking him at 12 or 15 feels a lot better, and it just does. I can't explain why, but it just feels like taking a center that high when we have McGovern, who's actually like starting to play well.
Yeah. Frankie from Flatbush checked in and said he's rated the 8th center in the league. And that's been a couple weeks now. He's been in there. It's not just like one game. It's like, no, it's a few weeks. He's been playing top 10 center level.
Yeah. But how old is Connor McGovern?
29, 28.
McGovern.
You checking him out?
I have to do Jets. Otherwise we're going to get the linebacker that pops up. He is 28. So there's plenty of time. I mean, look, center can play for like 4 or 5 more years. Like easily.
Totally.
If McGovern continues to play well, I'm all for passing on the center in the first round. As much as I like Linderbaum and as much as I wanted a center last year.
Yeah, I know. I wanted Creed last year, especially when he slipped. But you got to remember, like people say, oh, we should have drafted Creed. But they got Elijah Moore. It's not like we got a bust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we got Elijah Moore, potentially the most electric wide receiver that we've had here. Like you said earlier, since Santonio Holmes, like that kind of an impact. So even though it wouldn't have been I would not have taken Elijah Moore there. You can't be unhappy with the pick. You can't.
No. I mean, it definitely wasn't the route. Right? I wouldn't have gone Elijah Moore either. I was not thinking wide receiver in the slightest after spending money on Keelan Cole and Corey Davis, and you spent a second rounder on Denzel Mims. Like, was not thinking Elijah Moore. Great pick. Absolutely great pick.
Yeah, I was taking Tommy Tremble or something. I was going tight end, or linebacker.
I know you've been chomping at the bit for tight end.
But look,
okay.
No, but let me just say this real quick. So, but I agree with you that like I'm really hesitant to take a center in the top 10 because guys, like even though Linderbaum might be better, there are guys that are absolutely Creed Humphrey level impact. Guys like Alec Lindstrom and Jarrett Patterson might be my favorite outside of Linderbaum from Notre Dame. There's another guy, Ricky Stromberg, and another one that I like is what the hell's his name? Forsyth. From Oregon. But yeah, there are guys, man, like, we can totally get like that rare player in like an Aiden Hutchinson and a Kyle Hamilton up front. And then you can still get very, very good centers in the 2nd, 3rd, maybe even 4th round. Like you really can. And so I would hate to see us go for the one guy when the class is deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm also kind of on board, and I brought it up briefly before, but spending a 3rd first-round pick on an offensive lineman in the 1st round in 3 years feels like you're kind of overloading your resources, kind of like how we did with the defensive side of the ball, and you're going to have to start paying those players. So you're going to have to pay Becton. You're going to have to pay AVT, and you'd have to pay whoever you take arguably inside the top 10. And I think this time you see – it's funny. I wanted offensive line in the 1st round. Like I was looking forward to like a tackle or a center, and I'm starting to shift gears. And dare I say, 2 defensive players. Like that's what I'm thinking. I think because of where we're at right now, edge rusher far and away my highest priority. But then I think it's linebacker to me. Linebacker is probably. Right.
You're right, because the last 2 years we've used our premium assets on offense, Becton, Mims, and then Wilson, AVT, Elijah Moore, and Michael Carter. Like those are our premium picks. Anything after that is really a crapshoot. The fact that we got Bryce Hall is a great steal, but like we got guys like Nasruddin and Michael Carter II who's playing just lights out. Those are not the norm. So we did use picks back there, but those are much less likely to hit. We've taken our premium capital since JD's been here and used it on the offense. I am 100% convinced that unless something crazy happens, he's going defense in the first round this year.
So I think it'll be, because we still need a tight end. I would say we probably need a lineman, whether it be a right tackle, a guard. I don't think I see center in free agency. I think center for me is either a draft position or a punt type of position for me.
Center, punt.
Yeah,
I'd like to see a second or third. We got 2 seconds. I could see taking our second and grabbing a center. And like, let's say we get, just for argument's sake, let's say we get the best safety in Kyle Hamilton, generational type guy, truly generational. And then we get a great edge rusher, one of the top 3 edge rushers. Then we come into the second round and we grab a center and a tight end, or a linebacker and a center. And you know what I mean? Like, that's a good draft, man, positionally.
I could. God, you're starting to sell me on this safety idea, and I don't know how much I love it.
I know. Dude, like, believe me, I have.
Well, no, because if we have the 2 first-round picks, if you're getting the edge rusher, like edge rusher is far and away. Like I could see a situation where safety at 2 though. Damn it, I don't think I could do it at 2. I'd have to trade out. But
you're not
if you're
saying
saying 5 or 6,
he's going to be a top. 5 or 6 is better.
Yeah, like because for me, I'm thinking Kayvon, I'm thinking a quarterback, Neal, Stingley.
You think Evan Neal's going to be one of those? So look, you're right. You got Thibodeau.
I think he'll be high. He'll be high. It's still too early to know if he's top 5, but I think he plays a position that can go top 5, more than safety.
Right. It makes sense. I'm with you. But like Thibodeau, outside of a couple of quarterbacks, like really lighting it up and climbing the draft boards, like Zach Wilson. Don't forget, this time last year, Zach Wilson was maybe the 4th, 5th quarterback in the conversation. So he climbed toward the end of the year and into the combine and pro days and all that sort of stuff. So that can happen. If that happens, that's a great scenario for us, because then we can trade back 2, 3, 4 spots and still get either Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, or Karlaftis. Because like if it's just staying standard, the quarterbacks are mid-firsts and people are going to go Thibodeau, Hamilton, Evan Neal. Like the guys are just going to start going. Your blue chippers are going to be gone if you trade back past 5. Like they're going to be gone. And so you want to grab one of those guys if you have a top pick. But I would like the quarterbacks to go up, and then it gives us some breathing room. Then we trade back to 5, 6. And then we can still get one of our guys. That would be great. Imagine getting another first and a second to move back, and you still get a Hamilton or something like that.
We'll say, let's say Jets are sitting at 2, and you have the opportunity to either, and it's tough to know for sure, but let's say whatever you deem good value for Washington to trade up from 10, or maybe it's just a second rounder from the Texans to go from 2 to 4. Would you go for the drop back to 10, or would you go 2 picks, still be able to get a blue chipper and take the second rounder from the Texans?
Wait,
or do you just sit at 2 then?
I'm sorry. Say that scenario again. I apologize.
So your options are whatever you deem reasonable value for 10. You have to fall back from 2 down to 10.
Okay.
Or you go from 2 to 4, but you're only getting maybe a second from the Texans because they're like, hey, we want our quarterback. Don't trade back with Washington. You can still get a blue chipper, and we'll give you our second round pick. Is that enough to make you move down the 2 picks? Are you making the pick at 2, or would you pull the trigger on the pick to go back to 10?
That's not enough to move down 1 spot.
You don't think so?
Second round. No, it's not. 1 second round pick to go 2 spots. Don't forget,
the Texans second round pick though.
We traded
like top
3.
second.
Yeah, that's a good point. We traded 3 second round picks to move up 3 spots. So that
would be the equivalent of like, I think we gave up 3 second round picks because we were afraid Buffalo was going to give up roughly the same amount to jump in front of us because Buffalo was sitting at like 7 at that point, or where were they? Yeah, I think there were 7 when we were sitting at 6, and then we traded up to the Colts. I think there was an arms like race.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree, but that shit happens every year. It's why, like, think about Miami traded back with the Niners.
Yep.
And then they traded up with the Eagles. Like all that kind of stuff happens, dude. They got 3 first-round picks to move back to where the Niners were, and the Niners were at where were the Niners again?
Niners were
9,
11 or 12 somewhere. They were 11 or 12. They were in this.
Okay.
They were just out of the top 10.
Yeah, so they moved back from 3 to 10, like I don't know, 10 or 11. Then they moved up till 6, and they gained 2 firsts out of it. I think it was. That's kind of, to go down 2 spots, I would need more than a second for sure. But if you can get that and still pick at 4, that might be better than getting the extra, because dropping, that's a far drop from 2 to 10. That's far.
Yeah.
It's a whole different class of players down there.
Yeah, 100%. Joe S drops in with a super chat. He says, "Happy Thanksgiving, Jets Nation. Give Zach a chance." Everyone's giving Zach a chance. No one has any issues with Zach. I shouldn't say no one because there's some crazy fans out there, but everyone's on board with the whole let's see Zach Wilson play well. Bandwagon. So we're about it.
Oh yeah. Dude, Zach, I think it's good. Dude, I honestly think that him sitting for a couple weeks, he got to watch Mike White light it up, simple style. He got to watch Josh Johnson light it up. He got to watch Flacco. I wouldn't say he lit it up, but he played a very conservative, clean game for the most part. And 2 touchdowns, 281 yards. And then we brought in his quarterback coach to help Calabrese and all that. I think this has probably been a good month for Zach Wilson.
I think so as well. Richard Delgado wants to get punted off the screen. He says the Jets should trade Wilson for Carr, hire Gruden, break out and sign Ruggs, sign GVR to a Zach Martin-sized contract. Richard, Dick, get the hell out of here.
What do we say to that?
Say it's because he's Richard.
At least he got all of this troll type stuff in one post. So thank you for that.
We should have made him do multiple super chats. RJ Pot dropping in with another super chat. He says, "Would you mortgage the 2023 draft to bolster the 2022 draft picks? If so, imagine getting the top 2 best player in all our positions of need." So would you mortgage the 2023 draft for 2022 draft picks?
No.
I don't think so. I don't feel super strong about this draft class either. Like, I kind of wish we had a first next year. That's probably why I'm more okay with trading down. Like, I feel like there's probably a big clump of people that can all go around one of those picks. No, I'm going to say no. I would not. I don't like mortgaging our future at all when I think we just need depth. And I mean, we've needed depth for 10 years, and it feels like we're starting to get depth now. We just don't kind of have the top end part of that talent. Green Bean, how you feeling about mortgaging the 2023 draft class for 2022?
No, I wouldn't. You lose so much value with that. The rule of thumb, RJ McPot, is that, everything drops around a value. So you would be trading next year's first for a second this year. Just a rule of thumb. Obviously, we can work more and all that sort of stuff. But so you're talking about getting an extra second and then next year not having a first. That's too much for me. Plus, then you have that bottleneck of players, like all the young guys. We'd be doing the same thing next year that we did this year, of kind of counting on 10, 11, 12 new guys hitting and learning the system and becoming pros all at the same time. I'd rather spread it out because we have a nice concentration. We got 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 fourths, and 3 fifths this year. That's nuts. That's good. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a nice amount of draft capital. I think this offseason we're going to have to go out and get some veteran leadership. I don't think they move on from CJ Mosley this year. I think we wait till next year to do that. I think he is going to be one of the leaders, especially with May likely out the door. I don't know. It's good. I mean, I'm with you. I'm not looking forward to trading away 2023 picks for 2022.
Yeah. Well, and the thing
it's like a hangover. You're stealing happiness from the next day to enjoy tonight.
Dude, that's such a good analogy. That's exactly what it is. Like, you're just trying to squeeze it all in. Like, look, I've shared with you guys a lot. I'm a major like street level crack addict, right? So I used to give away my next week's paycheck on Saturday. Like, I get paid on Friday, I spend it all. And to keep it going into Saturday, I would literally borrow next week's paycheck just to keep it going. And let me tell you something, Sunday, all I did was regret. You know what I mean? All I did was regret, man. I've done that many times. So that's really a good analogy. It's like a hangover. You're trying to just keep the party going. The smart play is to spread it out and keep nice top tier guys coming in every year. This way you can do that whole system that the Steelers, Patriots, Ravens do, which is you build and develop and groom your own guys. When it's time for them to get paid, you let them leave. You got the next guy coming in and he's already here and ready. And then you start earning comp picks, free draft picks.
Yeah. I've said that before. The best teams in the league are drafting their good players and letting them walk or trading them for a lot of draft picks, one or the other. And I think having that opportunity where you're paying your own guys, you have not a lot of cap space and you have to let some good guys walk because you have so many other good guys. This is a good problem that the Jets could have. And I'm hoping that's kind of the route we wind up going. Kyle Ormsby drops in with another super chat. He says, Ryan, will you be doing mock drafts again? You damn right I'll be doing mock drafts again. I'll be doing my mock drafts after the Tuesday Talkin' Jets panel. Once we get into the offseason, I'm not doing that yet, but we will definitely be doing those as well. And I'll also be doing the ones on my channel, like normally for the non-members, as I kind of give my thoughts. It won't be as frequently as the mock draft Tuesday nights, but yeah, I will.
Yeah, we're starting Monday night mocks. I do that every week, Ryan. I think I'm going to start it.
So good.
I'm going to start
so
it.
Good.
I miss it.
They're so good. I wanted to do that like after the Jets. Was it after the blowout lost the Patriots? I think it was. That I was like, I'm going to do a mock draft every Monday. And I was like, that's probably not what I should be doing just yet. One that's a lot of like resource intensive things for like a pick that's going to float around 2 to 4 to 5 to 2 to 3. It's fun. I almost like, I want to wait till it all shakes out. And you know what we should do again, and I don't know if you're up for this or not, but we should definitely look at the college football playoff and do another watch party.
Yeah, totally.
And just kind of highlight some of the guys that we should be watching.
Yeah, totally.
Because that was fun. Last year it was, maybe a little more critical because we were looking at Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields.
That was great.
Some of those, but there's going to be a ton.
We got to watch Ohio State and Clemson together, didn't we?
Yeah, Ohio State and Clemson. Then we watched. Was it Alabama and Ohio State? Is that who wound up playing?
Oh, yeah, and Alabama shellacked them. Like Ohio State took it to Clemson, and then they played Alabama, and they're like, sit down, kids.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would like to see that again. Did you see the new rankings come out? Cincinnati's in the top 4.
Wait, what rank? What, the national rankings?
Yeah, Cincinnati's in the top 4.
Interesting.
I like that. I want to see that. I want to see an expanded college football playoff. I'd like to see 8 teams get in.
Me too.
I think
I like that too.
You're just missing some of the talent that has at least played the talent on their schedule and has played well. I think was Cincinnati undefeated last year. I think they were. So I think they're undefeated since last year.
That's the thing. It's like, that's why I liked even in the NFL, like the expanding it, to another team getting in. Like, I think there are teams that come on late. Like, it takes time to put it together. And like when you close the doors quickly, you're missing out on a lot of talent that can be in there, a lot of fun. So I'd like to see, I agree, man, expand it, dude. I'm with it.
I think the players probably want that as well, because there's going to be a lot of guys that don't get the opportunity to shine because they're not playing in a bowl game or they're playing at like a slightly smaller school. Because there's going to be guys that like I'm sure there's going to be players on Cincinnati that we're going to see, and we're going to be like, wow, that guy's a gamer when the game is on the line. Like that's someone we should take a look at. And that's, I want to see that sort of stuff. The more football is always better. I had one buddy I was talking to yesterday. He's just like, I want to see a 24 game playoff. I was like, that's like an entirely another season in college football. So you can't do that. I was like, I would be down for 8. You could get me. What would 16 be? Is that 4 games? 1, 2, 3, 16 down to 8, down to 4, down to 3. Yeah, that's 4 games, right? That would be the max I think I could see. I think eventually maybe you get to 16, but even then, I think that waters down the competition too much. You still want to have the regular season mean something. Like, I think that's why I like the 4. But I think people also like the conversation that comes with the selection of the top 4, right? I just think 8 teams will just have the conversation around 10, 9, 8 as opposed to 4, 5, 6.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so we'll do that. We'll have some fun with it, man. Like, and I think we just do a little bit better job this year of kind of presenting to the chats which players that we really want to key on that the Jets might be looking at. We just kind of do that a little bit better.
For sure.
I think that'd be fun.
I'll have to screw around a little bit. I haven't so I've been using Melon or StreamYard, like a StreamYard equivalent for the streaming stuff. I really want to go back to like my old setup. I like, as much as I like this and it's easy to show comments and like I can switch camera stuff real fast. I miss having my old setup and being able to like, then we can plug in like the guys that we really like and we can have that little bit of text over our screen, be like, hey, keep an eye out for like linebacker, fucking safety, offensive lineman, all these guys, and really, really dive into it. Dick drops in with another super chat. Thanks, Dick. He says, I realize that offensive fundamentals and systems drive an offense while athleticism and talent run the defense. Also, quarterbacks fail when coaches fail. So yes, I agree with the first part of this. I agree with the first part of this. Offensive fundamentals and systems drive the offense while athleticism and talent run the defense. Like there's still a lot of scheming that goes on with defenses, but I think you can mold your defense to the players. We're just kind of choosing not to because we want to grow a system. I think if you have a faster, stronger guy on defense, you can basically say, "Hey, see ball, get ball." Especially for defensive linemen and linebackers for the most part. Like, and if you're manning up with guys, like, "Hey, just beat your guy." Like that. That's what you're kind of, could tell people. On offense, you have a line moving in unison and receivers that can't wind up in the same spot, and the quarterback's got to make the right read. So quarterbacks fail when coaches fail. I don't know. I think some coaches do fail because the quarterbacks fail, but it's tough. It's like a chicken or the egg situation. What do you think, Green Bean?
Yeah, I think I think you just said exactly what I'm going to say with a lot more words. It's a chicken. It's the chicken and the egg. But it's like, look, I think that especially with a young quarterback, it's all about how well you can acclimate them to the system that you're trying to employ. Like when you look at Mac Jones in New England, I believe that if New England had the opportunity to take Zach Wilson or Mac Jones, they would have taken Zach Wilson. But they took Mac Jones, and Mac Jones came and they settled him into the most established system in the entire NFL. They've been together for over 20 years running the same system. So all they did was put Mac Jones in there. It took them a couple weeks because they had a lot of new offensive pieces, the 2 new tight ends and such. So it took a minute, but what they've asked Mac Jones to do is very simply run this, do this. That's all we want you to do. You do that, we'll take care of the rest. When you look conversely at the New York Jets, you have a guy in LaFleur who's like, I think I want to be in the box. No, they stay on the field. Okay. Like that's where they are. They don't even know where they're supposed to sit. You know what I mean? So I think when you have something like that, a Zach Wilson is having difficulty because he's a rookie and all that. But I think that his difficulties are exacerbated by the fact that our coaches aren't entrenched yet. They don't even have their own system. It's not solid yet. So I think a quarterback like him, like Zach Wilson, just as an example, can fail because the coaches are, in the meantime, while they're settling in, he's getting killed. You know what I mean? You've got 15 sacks his first 3 games as an NFL quarterback. That's not the way you want to start. And we saw him making some really silly mistakes as a derivative. So I think it definitely happens that way. But there's a lot of times, like you said, Ryan, that the coach is great and the quarterback just flat out sucks.
Dark Soldier says, with how this draft class has been panning out, I believe in whatever JD chooses to do. So I picked this comment because I wanted to talk a little bit about Joe Douglas in general. I know the two of us have been high on Joe Douglas. I think he's the best GM we've had in a very long time. And I think I've been frustrated because of how the 2020 draft wound up kind of panning out. But I've stood by the fact that Joe Douglas knows how to evaluate talent. Like Becton, when he's on the field, super talented, had no injury issues prior to coming into the NFL. Mims has the talent, but he's dropping balls. He's disappointing. For me, looking back on that draft, I think Joe Douglas either tried to get cute and tried to get Claypool a little bit lower, and he just flubbed it up, or he didn't like Mims to begin with, and then since he traded back and he was like, okay, you know what, now I'm fine taking him here. I don't know. Mims feels like more of a last year's coaching staff fit as opposed to this year, and I kind of felt that way with Morgan and Pirine too. Like Pirine just feels like a square peg that isn't going to go into this round hole. I know you love Pirine, but
I don't love him. I just like him more than Jets fan. Like by contrast, it seems like I love him. You know what I mean? I like him. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
But you know what? I agree with what you just said. I think that last year's staff and Adam Gase's input, because don't forget, he was on equal footing with JD. I think that guys, the guys you mentioned are perfect examples of guys that this coaching staff, this regime might not have taken. That said, I think that Mims is still a fantastic player. I mean, let's remember he has only dropped passes from Josh Johnson. Now, I don't know what that means, but he's never dropped a pass from Zach, never dropped a pass from White, never dropped a pass from Sam Flacco. So there's something there. I don't know what it is. Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought that, but maybe that is it.
I don't know what it
bugs the shit out of me because I want to see Mims do well, but he's just not earning it. It's like every time he's on the field, you got to catch the ball. It doesn't matter who's throwing you the ball. You're a professional catcher of the ball. Totally. It is your legitimately. I don't want to say your one job, but it's a very large portion of your career.
Yeah, I know it's weird, right? I agree 100%, but there might be something with the way the ball comes. I don't know. You know what I mean? These guys, we hear about it all the time that they got to get in sync and all that. It's just a funny thing. Mims had 2 catches in the Cincinnati game, and then Josh Johnson comes in for 3 plays. That touchdown that Mims dropped was Josh Johnson. Then Mike White comes back in, and there's no issue. And then he plays the next game with Josh Johnson starting, and he drops 3 passes. So it's just a weird thing. I don't know what it means, but it's definitely reality. I mean, it's real. So I think Mims is fine. But if this coaching staff doesn't want to use him, then you got to at least showcase him and get something for him. Like if they're not going to use him, then you don't just let him rot here. Get that 2nd round pick back. At least it would hurt me because I know for a fact that Mims is going to light it up. I know he is. Yeah,
I feel like that's a player you almost have to just have a handful of plays for him. Just throw it in. Just be like, hey, you're going to run 5 plays. This is what you're going to block, and you're going to have 4 plays that are all designed to possibly go to you. Maybe the second read, whatever. But I think there's opportunity for him. Jin Pak says Philip Lindsay on the Jets might work. Philip Lindsay was just cut by the Texans tonight.
Yeah, I don't want him.
I would pick up Lindsay this week.
Fucking run with the young guys. Just run the young guys.
Who you got? Okay, so what are we knocking? Pirine back to the practice squad? Sorry. Carter's out right now. So you got Ty Johnson, you got Pirine, you got Coleman. They're only dressing 3 though. Yeah, well, that's fine. Maybe you sit Pirine for another week, and then you say, hey, you're going to get an opportunity because Carter's out the next 2 weeks. We're going to pick up Lindsay for this 1 week so we can get inside knowledge on the Texans. And then you go from that. I don't think Perine has earned reps over either Ty Johnson or even Coleman. Like I think Coleman's playing. I shouldn't say playing well, but I like him.
I think he's earned reps over Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson has drops. He has plenty of missed assignments on pass protection. Like, look, Ty Johnson had some exciting plays. A couple times where it was his effort, his second and third effort that got us in the end zone. So I don't dislike the guy, but the way I describe Ty Johnson is he's feast or famine. So you have a great play, and then he gets your quarterback killed. Then he has another good play, and then he drops a pass that would have been a touchdown. That's what Ty Johnson is. And I hate that. I hate those types of players. I'd rather see 𝐒𝐿 Perine mixed in there, even if it's, give him 10, 15 plays, the whole day. That's fine. Just start feathering them in rather than bringing in Philip Lindsay and starting the whole process over with, let's see, who knows, maybe Perine comes in and lights it up. You know what I mean? He looked great in training camp and preseason. So
maybe he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, and he looked good last year, too. People forget. I don't know how people don't remember what he did.
He was very I think the whole season last year was very much all aboard the tank for Trevor bandwagon, and then just everyone else just forgot. It's like I feel like Mims and Becton were like the two bright spots we were looking at all last year. Our buddy Sneakers to Boots drops in with the super chat. Thank you, dude. He says, how mad are we if LaFleur goes run, pass with Zach Wilson? Oh, man, I'm going to flip a table. I'm going to be so upset, especially when you don't have Michael Carter, right? Like, I want to see this offense called very similarly to how it was called the last 4 weeks. And I really think they will continue that route because I think they saw it works. You saw the yards start going and going and going. And then maybe Zach has learned about pressing the ball too far down the field, and now you can actually make some of these shorter completions, get some shorter downs and distances. A 3rd and 4 looks a lot better than a 3rd and 7, and you have more plays dialed up for that. So yeah, I would be pretty peeved if LaFleur winds up going run, pass with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, that's the thing. Look, like we talked about a little bit earlier, everybody's kind of leveled off on LaFleur somewhat. And I think rightfully so, man. He took the heat in their early going appropriately, and he's come out of there. I mean, our offense has not been the problem the last few weeks. But that said, I don't think he's done a good job building Zach Wilson's career, like kind of developing him and the game plan around him to the point where we're making him comfortable. I think that we failed in that aspect. So now that the offense is kind of at least hitting a stride, maybe not rolling, but they've hit a stride. I'd like to see them continue that with Zach, as opposed to going back to, okay, let's put him in an eggshell and just slowly bring. I don't want to see that. Just continue with what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And the offensive line's been playing well too. And I'm curious to see if, how much of that was Zach Wilson holding onto the ball too long, trying to make a play, and now maybe he realizes, hey, get the ball out quick. I want to see Zach in some 3-step drops. 1, 2, 3, ball out. Don't let the offensive line have any opportunity to potentially get your quarterback hit or re-injured or anything like that. Kind of take the game out of their hands. I don't want to say take the game out of Zach's hands, but you got 1, 2, 3. You see your guy. If you don't see it, move to the next guy. If not, throw it away. Just get it out.
Yeah.
Just make it real simple. Because I feel like the way the Patriots have groomed Mac Jones, and Mac Jones has made some plays, but I really think that the Patriots feel beatable. And maybe that's just because they've had Tom Brady for 20 years. But I don't get the same oh no, it's Mac Jones the way I did when it was Brady. And I think the Jets have the opportunity to create an offense that can be similar to that. We don't have maybe all the pieces like the tight ends like they do up in New England, or maybe the ground game like New England has, but I think your play calling can scheme guys open, and we've seen that the last few weeks with backup quarterback 1, 2, and 3.
Totally, man. We've had 3 quarterbacks look at minimum serviceable. I mean, think about it. 2 of them threw for over 300 yards, and the other one threw for just under 300 yards. So, that might even put a little bit more pressure on Zach, quite frankly. But again, I think having his quarterback coach here, having even Flacco, having the vet quarterbacks. Now we have 2 vet quarterbacks, 2 quarterback coaches. LaFleur's up in the box just thinking about the game plan. You got Kavanaugh running the sideline. It's a whole different
and John
thing.
Beck. John Beck
that's
for
what I
me
mean. Yeah.
on the sideline is huge,
Totally.
huge.
Yep. So now it's somebody, rather than just Calabrese. Because look, when I really do believe when LaFleur was on the sideline, there was a lot of mixing that LaFleur, like LaFleur had to worry about more things. Now he's up in the booth. He's only worrying about the game plan. Let Kavanaugh manage the personalities and all that kind of stuff. And let John Beck and Calabrese sit with Zach and go over the motions and the progressions and all that sort of shit. So now we have like a tiered approach as opposed to LaFleur down there trying to run everything. It just didn't work. I didn't like it. None of us liked it. We all, after week 2, every single Jets fan I know, especially me, you, and Matt, were saying, get LaFleur upstairs, man. Get him upstairs. And Kavanaugh's a very, very good coach. He's a vet. He's been in the NFL for over 30 years, man. Let him interact with the players. Let him run the sideline. And that's what they've been doing. And when you watch Kavanaugh on the sideline, he's always talking with players, always. And that's what you want to see.
Yeah, 100%. And I like the ability, because when I think of LaFleur, I try to equate what he's doing with me taking on a new job. And if you gave me a new job that I had not done before, I would, and then you then tasked me with all these other things like, hey, you got to babysit like the young franchise quarterback while also taking care of the offense. Like that, it feels like a lot. Like take care of him in practice, and then game time, get your head right, put yourself in the best position to help your young quarterback. And I think bringing in John Beck and allowing Kavanaugh to have those sorts of relationships with the guys on the sideline is exactly what the doctor ordered, 100%. Big Joe drops in with a super chat. He says, hey, Green Bean, I'm graduating from the University of Miami on December 17th. I hear you'll be in Florida around that time. Would love to invite you to his graduation.
Wow, Big Joe. That's super cool. I'm in Florida right now. I just drove for the past 2 days, dude. I left yesterday at 10 a.m. and I've been driving ever since. We just got here a couple hours ago. First thing I did in the parking spot, Big Joe, I rode over trying to back my RV in. I ran over the water spout and water shot everywhere. That was how I got here. I was exhausted. But yeah, man, let's talk about it. Reach out to me on Instagram or just do my email. That's a good way to get to me. I check it every day or two. Reach out and we'll see if it can work. That would be super cool. I'll be here 2 weeks. That's it.
Congratulations, Big Joe. Congratulations. Always good to see people graduating. If I see it in the chat, let us know what you're graduating in. Are you majoring in, I don't know, something cool? Like, I don't know, rocket ships or something neat. I graduated with a film degree. Not as exciting. Well, maybe it's exciting. I enjoy using it with you guys. Let's see. Oh, Big Joe says Master of Sports Administration. He's getting a job with the Jets, or he's going to get a job with the Miami Dolphins, and he's going to sink that friggin' franchise right to the bottom of the ocean where it belongs. I love it. Let's see. What else we got going on in the chat? What are you guys talking about over here?
I'm trying to tell somebody, Andy Gonzalez is saying Joe Douglas hasn't picked anybody after pick 35. And he picked 35 because Elijah Moore, it was 33. I think he was, right? 32, 33. 34. So he picked right after that. 34, right. So that's why he did that. I don't know why you excluded Elijah Moore from the mix, but I'm making him a list. So I'll just tell you now, Andy. I'm going to send it to
okay. But his picks that I've liked. I like Braden Mann. I like Bryce Hall. Yeah. Ashton Davis is starting to look better, but still to be determined. I don't like Zuniga. Don't like Morgan. Never saw Clark. Who am I missing? I'm missing someone there. Pirine, I'm just not on board with. And then this year, I really like both Michael Carter. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah. I like Eccles. Yeah. Like we've hit on some like pretty solid contributors.
Totally.
Yeah, you're completely wrong.
So here's the list I gave. I said, what about Bryce Hall, Michael Carter 1, Michael Carter 2, Brandon Eccles? Even though he's hurt, he covered Jamar Chase all day. Okay.
Are we talking undrafted free agents too? Because then you could talk
Right.
Bryce
What about
Huff.
those guys?
Like they
Braden
weren't drafted.
Mann.
That was clearly that you're finding talent.
Totally.
Like, undrafted free agents, 100%.
And
here's
here's
a draft grade.
Absolutely, they should. And we have Bryce Huff, who was playing great before he's injured. We're going to see him again this week. He was like top 10 in the NFL in win rate. So that's for an undrafted free agent. Then you have Javelin Guidry, who is impressing. He's not perfect, and he shouldn't be on the outside, and I maintain that. But they, but they still.
You can have two nickel cornerbacks, 100%. With all these 4 wide receiver sets you're seeing, why not have a have a dime package with him in there?
And we still have Lamar Jackson, who's on the practice squad, and we have Hamilcar Rashid, who really should have been a 4th, 5th round pick. He just slid, but he had a fantastic 2020 season. So or 2020, the year before this year. I don't know what year it is anymore. So
everything's
I think
blending together for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it, man. And look, you got to remember too that you need 3 years to properly evaluate a draft class. You really do. That's a very standard rule of thumb. Guys that are great their rookie year don't always work out. Look at Sheldon Richardson. He won rookie of the year. 2 years later, he's a journeyman. All right. So that happens. And then there are guys that look like busts year 3, year 4. They light up the league. So it happens, man. It happens all the time. But even with that, we look like we did a very, very good job in the last draft. 2020 still had Gase, and I'm still very high on that draft class. Guys like Mims. I like Zuniga more than a lot of people, and I like Pirine more than a lot of people. But even if they never make it, Becton, Mann, Hall, that's still a good first draft class.
Yeah, 100%. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something fun here. We're at the end of our stream, but I'm going to copy the link to this stream. I'm going to post it in the chat, and we're going to get a viewer to play some odds and evens with us. I think that would be pretty fun. Green Bean, can you head over to last week's video, and we'll pick 5 commenters. So tonight we have Jeremy Cravat, Joe S., Jets Forever, Delusional Jets Fan, and John Zabrowski as our 5 qualifiers. Green Bean's going to pick 5 other qualifiers. I dropped the link to the video that Green Bean and I are on in the live chat, and someone who decides to join the live chat with us will be able to play some odds or evens. I think that'd be a little fun. Have some fun with this.
All right. I'm going to do it. I'm just going top 5 today. That's what we're doing. All
right. Rattle off some names for me.
All right, we got Pooch Guy, Pooch Guy.
Okay.
We got Mark Food Fun Fantasy.
So
there's no space with the 3 Fs.
So now I want to know which food is his fantasy and what fun is he having with it.
He's having all kinds.
Maybe
of
I don't
fun
want to know.
Food.
Maybe I don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might not. You might want to. You don't want to open every can. Carmelo Elbori's Way. Carmelo Elbori's Way.
Mello L. How do you spell it? B-O?
BORI''S Way.
Way. Okay.
Kenneth Duffy.
Kenneth Duffy. And one more.
And this one is going to be easy. Joseph.
All right. Well, I guess no one wanted to play odds or evens because I don't have anyone in the
nobody
in the
called.
lineup. All right. I guess whatever. No one wants to hang out with us. Link's in there.
That link, guys.
It's in there. Melanapp.com/ whatever the hell those things are. See?
Come on,
you guys got so much to say in the chat, but don't have enough time for some Rochambeau odds or evens stuff. All right. I see how it is. All right. If I see someone pop in, I'll throw them in. If not, Green Bean. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 odds. Scratching off the odds. Gone. All right. 3, 2, 1. Evens. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Bye-bye. We're down to 3. Joe S., Pooch Guy, and Joseph.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Oh, damn it. He keeps going with the ones. He keeps getting
I don't know what's wrong with me today.
Oh, you got me. I was going to say that was 3 ones in a row. All right. Pooch Guy. Pooch Guy is our winner for the T-shirt. So, Pooch Guy, reach out to me. I'll get your information. We'll send you out a shirt. And that's going to be it for our show here. Green Bean, any last words for our panel?
A couple of things, if you don't mind. Again, we're going to have the 10:30 after-hours show over at Green Bean Jets Fan on YouTube. 10:30, come on over. We'll hang out another hour or two. And guys, I have 2 tickets to this week's game in Houston. 2 tickets, lower-level tickets to the Jets-Houston game in Houston with parking. So it's all paid for. So if anybody can make the game, I only have 3 people that are in the raffle. I'm going to give it till Friday, and then I'm going to give them away. So if anybody wants those tickets, all you have to do is just get to me. My email, DM me on Twitter, on Instagram. Doesn't matter how you get to me. Just get to me, and I'll put your name in there if you can make it. But I'm going to say it again. The game's in Houston. I've gotten probably 15 people that said, I want them. I said, you're in Houston? Oh, no. So
never
in
mind.
Houston. Yeah. So yeah, man, I got 2 tickets and parking. I'm dying to give them away to somebody. I hope it's you. Don't be afraid to reach out.
I love it. Boys and girls, make sure you get in on that contest with Green Bean. It has been a lot of fun. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's always fun hanging out with our Tuesday crew here. Guys, my name is Ryan. I've been your pilot. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS. What's good?
All right, listen, I've had to shit since we sat down.